So today if you haven't been to our Metta Centre event before, we this is our Wednesday wellness event where we invite teachers from all around the world, from all traditions of Buddhism, to learn about meditation, and they share their wisdom and tips on how to meditate with us. So we have this week we have Venerable Dharma Master Andrew Williams with us, and he is going to talk about contemplating our precious human life, impermanence, karma, and the unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence. And it's the first part of a two-part experiential talk. So the second part will be next Wednesday, and it will be meditation on karma and the unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence. Today, he will be sharing with us meditation on the precious human life and meditation on impermanence. So a little bit about Dharma Master Andrew Williams. He's been a Dharma teacher since 1998, initially in the USA and now in Australia. He has studied and received teachings in all of the three major Buddhist traditions of Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. It's currently a resident teacher at the Tu Buddhist Monastery in Melbourne. Master Andrew has written numerous Buddhist mini musicals that have been performed at UN Vesak celebrations in Australia. And he's had extensive career in the entertainment industry, predominantly as a singer-songwriter and actor, before focusing 100% on the Dharma teachings. He's actively engaged as a committee member of the Buddhist Federation of Australia, the World Fellowship of Buddhist Youth, the World Alliance of Buddhists, and the KC Multi-Faith Network. In addition, in July 2017, Andrew was honored with a World Buddhist Outstanding Leader Award. He has also recently become an advisor for the Dharmacharya Foundation in India. So I actually do listen to your songs too, Venerable Andrew Williams. I've got one on my playlist, and I think it's about sharing the merits, and I think it's really beautiful. I love like
Mhm.
that. That's a really beautiful way to yeah, come back to the present moment, but also just reflect on the teachings.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, so now I'll as always, this will be an interactive session. So um Master Andrew Williams will start with talk and also meditation intertwined, and in the last 30 minutes there'll be opportunity for question answers. And if you have any questions at any point, you can pop them in the chat online, for those online, and we can answer them at the Q&A session. If you and for those in person, you can just put your hand up at the Q&A session and you can ask any questions that you wish. Okay, perfect. Now over to you, Dharma Master Andrew Williams.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm very pleased to be here today. It's the first time now for maybe 2 years since I gave a talk for you guys. I know we tried to do last year as well, but we couldn't organize, couldn't sort of be in sync as such. The first time I gave a talk for you basically was five skandhas, a commentary on the five skandhas, mentality and physicality. The second talk I gave was a commentary on the Loving Kindness Sutra. And then the next talk was commentary on the six paramitas. So today, what I'd like to do is talk about, and next week as well, talk about what we know as the four preliminary practices or contemplations. This is to help us develop what we call renunciation, which loosely you could say is turning our mind to the Dharma, turning our mind to the practice of the Dharma, leading towards the realization, what we call nirvana or enlightenment. Renunciation is not just like, it's not just like leaving the world behind, all that sort of stuff, but it's actually putting your mind towards goodness and towards, the practice of the Dharma, practice of the Eightfold Path, and so on. Mindfulness, concentration, wisdom, understanding, and of course those that follow as well, which is like our right speech and action and so forth. Okay, so it helps us to be able to place our mind directly to the Dharma and become better, become more virtuous and so forth. And with true renunciation, we're able to develop then what we call bodhicitta, which literally means the enlightenment mind or the mind on the way towards enlightenment. Bodhicitta is the altruistic intention to compassionately seek or realize enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, not excluding any. And then, of course, this leads to supreme wisdom. And this is known as what we call the three principles of the path, or you could say the three principles of the path. And that is renunciation, bodhicitta, or the great compassion, and wisdom, the wisdom of emptiness, the supreme wisdom. Of course, when the supreme wisdom and the great compassion are unified, married together and perfected, then this is enlightenment, okay? And so this is the first stage, the first principle of the path, you could say, is to develop this renunciation, to contemplate these four preliminary contemplations of the precious human life, of impermanence, of the law of karma or cause and effect, and the unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence. And what I'm going to do is utilize some articles that I have written on these subjects, okay? And we're going to utilize what we call, or what the Buddha called, the three wisdoms, but can also be known as the three wisdom tools. The first wisdom tool is hearing. So you hear the teachings, you hear the Dharma. The next wisdom tool is contemplation, where you contemplate the Dharma. And then is the wisdom, what we call wisdom of meditation, or absorbing your mind with understanding. And of course, you must hear first. This can also include study, of course, reading books and things. And then come across the teachings, then study them or hear them. Then you can contemplate them. Utilize your intelligence to be able to investigate, or your ability to be able to investigate and analyze the teachings thoroughly. You can't just believe them or disbelieve them, but really think about them and reflect on them. Then come to some understanding and then absorb your mind with that. We're going to engage these three wisdom tools during today's talk. Because these articles that I have written, they're not too long, by the way, reasonable length, maybe 1 or 2 foolscap pages, and typing, Anyway, the history of these teachings, initially they were written in point form. About 20 years ago for me to teach in Dharma classes, both in the States, early on when I first started teaching, but also here in Australia. And then maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I wrote them wrote an article with them, utilizing these point notes. So that's the little bit of history of it. They come from all the schools of Buddhism, the Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana. Sometimes I think we make a mistake as human beings of splitting these up. What you practice depends really on your character, on what you're attracted to in the Dharma path, on the Dharma path. Eventually, all these roads lead to the same destination. And so just before I start, I'm going to recite, of which I really should have done before when we really started, but I'm going to recite 4 short verses in English. And then after that, we'll do some very brief meditation on the breath, or anapanasati, mindfulness of the breath, and then loving kindness. Once again, very brief, because we're going to be utilizing meditation throughout this talk. Also, I mention it up front that I'm not going to give too much commentary, because the commentary is within these articles. And I'm going to ask you to, close your eyes at different times so you can contemplate and absorb your mind with this understanding as well, okay? And I'm going to replace the word I with we, so we can be inclusive in the prayers. We take refuge until we're enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And through the positive potential we create by practicing the Dharma, may we soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings be happy. May they be free from suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of attachment, aversion, and ignorance. Reverently, we prostrate with our body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. We confess all of our negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. We dedicate the virtues of ourselves and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, we vow to save them all. However inexhaustible our delusions are, we vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, we vow to master them all. And however endless the Buddha's way is, we vow to follow it completely. Okie dokie. So I just did a slight embellishment of what we call the Four Immeasurable Prayer to make it a little bit shorter today. Okay, but basically the four immeasurables are the immeasurable of universal loving kindness, the immeasurable of universal compassion, the immeasurable of universal empathetic joy, and equanimity, a non-biased mind. Okay, so now just forget everything I just said and just bring your mind inside your body. Get in a nice, comfortable position. And initially, we will release the tension from inside the body. If it is your habit to keep your eyes open while meditating, then do so, but don't be distracted by visual things. Most people would close their eyes. But don't fall asleep if you do that. So now let's start from the bottom of the body and work the way up and release whatever tension you may have. So release the tension from your feet and lower legs, upper legs, all around your midsection, your upper torso to your shoulders, down to the tips of your fingers, and to the top of your head. Of course, all around your face as well. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw or frowning. And just a little note, these meditations, this one, preparatory meditation, the breath meditation and loving kindness meditation, when you do it yourself, do it for longer periods. Maybe sometime in the future, we can actually do a whole class on each one. So now scan your body again from the bottom to the top, just to see if there's any leftover tension that you can release. And if there is, do so. When you've done this, bring your mind to the tip of your nose initially. And the object of the meditation is the feeling of the breath as you breathe in your nose, past your throat, past your bronchial area, all the way into your lungs, and then back out your nose again. Just to give you a few extra tips to help you keep focused on the feeling of the breath. As you breathe in, the air is quite cool as it passes your throat, then goes past the chest area, into the lungs. As they fill with the air, they expand. The abdomen rises a little. As you breathe out, the lungs compress, and therefore the abdomen drops a little. And when it passes your throat on the way out, it's quite warm after being inside the body. You may also like to add the extra technique of counting the breaths from 1 up to 10, not past 10 though, because we want the breath to be the focus. And if you get distracted on the way towards 10, then go back to 1 at that time. Just extra tools to help us to keep focused on the breath. So breathing in, breathing out. Have no worries. Don't try too hard. Don't try too little. All we have to do physically now is be here and breathe. All we have to do mentally is focus on the breath. And if the mind wanders, then refocus on the breath. So if thoughts arise or any mental activity arises, don't cling to it or grasp at it. Don't try to force it away either or deny it. But simply and naturally let it go by replacing the mind back onto the breath. And if your mind becomes dull, then wake it up a little bit by refocusing on the breath more brightly. Quite simple and uncomplicated. So just for a short while, we'll practice like this in silence. So now we can feel pleased with ourselves for engaging in the practice and fill ourselves with the universal loving kindness. Utilize the visualization technique of filling your whole being with the white light, which represents universal loving kindness. Universal loving kindness includes friendliness, acceptance and respect and gratitude. Loving kindness is also not separate from compassion and joy and equanimity, as mentioned before or alluded to before. Really feel this universal loving kindness. You could also say it, you're extending or radiating this loving kindness to yourself. Be kind to yourself. So now fill yourself with so much universal loving kindness in the form of the white light that it now overflows and radiates outwards from your heart center and enters the heart centers of other living beings, initially your loved ones, your family, your friends, fills them with the universal loving kindness too. Really have the wish that they are happy, free from suffering, and are peaceful. Now also include strangers and do likewise. And also those beings you may regard as enemies, and also do likewise. Try to maintain a mind of equanimity as you do this. Now, beyond human beings, to all sentient beings now, whatever sentient being you can think of, innumerable sentient beings, starting around your immediate area, the sentient beings that live on the land, even under the land, live in the waters, fly through the air, whether they're born from wombs, eggs, moisture, or through transformation, whether you know about them or not. Extend and radiate this loving kindness to all living beings. And now let's increase the distance throughout your whole state or county, and other states and counties throughout the whole country. And all of the countries throughout the world, those you know about and have an affinity towards, those you may be indifferent towards, and those that for whatever reason you may have a negative feeling about. Also have your loving kindness pervade throughout the oceans and all bodies of water, down to the core of the earth and to the outermost atmosphere. And have your loving kindness radiate throughout the whole solar system and galaxy and the universe and beyond, until your loving kindness pervades throughout infinite space. We are all interdependent, interconnected. All living beings, all animate and inanimate objects. It's like a huge net, infinite net, all connected. And so now we will have the commentary on meditation on the precious human life. Like I said to you, I will work off the article. And what I will do, I will get you to now, up to you whether you keep your eyes open or not, or keep them closed. And then I will recite to you the entire article. So you are hearing this article, utilizing your wisdom of hearing. Then once I've finished that, for a short period, we will utilize the wisdom of contemplation, and also the same with the wisdom of meditation to absorb your mind. Of course, you're not expected to remember all the article on first take, on first hearing, of course. But whatever it is that you remember and that really rings, or rings true for you, whatever makes you feel very comfortable, you agree with, then you can absorb your mind with that. What you don't understand or what you don't agree with, you can contemplate later, different time. And I'll share with you. I often post these on Facebook. Last week I posted this article on meditation on precious human life. Just today I posted the meditation on impermanence. Okay, so you can access them very easily. So meditation on the precious human life, the 10 fortunes and 8 freedoms. Human life is considered precious when it is endowed with the excellent qualities or fortunes and freedoms, or the good conditions needed to engage in Dharma practice. Firstly, the 10 fortunes, 5 of which relate to you and 5 to the outside world. We should reflect on how fortunate it is that I have been born as a human being. I have been born in a civilized land, a spiritual country, that is, where people are keeping vows and living morally. I have been born with sense faculties intact, able to hear, see, smell, think, and so forth. I haven't committed any of the 5 heinous acts, extreme wrongdoings that would result in a rebirth of great suffering in the next life. I have some faith and devotion in the Buddha's teachings and some inspiration to practice to tame this mind. I have been born in a world where a Buddha has come. I have been born in a world where a Buddha has taught and revealed the truth. I have been born where Buddha's teachings have not been lost from the hearts and minds, and where both unmistaken understanding and realizations are still held by great practitioners. I have been born where Buddha's teachings are still being practiced in a pure way by the community of practitioners, our Dharma friends. I have been born where I have the necessary conditions to practice and the support of genuine masters who teach us from their great love and compassion. So I've just changed my mind and we're going to do bit by bit. So whatever it is you remember from that, from those 10, the 10 fortunes, then contemplate on them. I will help you do this by reiterating, by paraphrasing them. And then we will do short meditation to absorb your mind with whatever it is. No pressure, okay? Whatever it is you remember, understand, and is in agreement with you. So yes, we have been born as human beings. We have these precious opportunities because the Buddha has taught the Dharma teachings. The Dharma teachings are still surviving in this world with genuine teachers to help to share them with us. We live in a land that at least there's a reasonable amount of morality being practiced. We can hear, we can see, we can think. We have not committed the heinous crimes, such as killing parents, injuring a Buddha, killing an Arhat, or creating very bad discord within the Sangha. And we have some sort of faith and trust in the Buddha's teachings. We also have each other to help us and encourage us. So now, just for a minute or so, we can absorb the mind. So now back to the wisdom of hearing. Now let us reflect on the 8 freedoms. I have the freedom to create the causes for temporary happiness and ultimate good by not being born in the hell realms, not being born as a hungry ghost, not being born as an animal, not having distorted views such as denying that cause and effect exists and so on and so forth, not born in a place where no Buddha has appeared, not born in an uncivilized place where no one truly practices morality, not born intellectually disabled with no faculty to learn, understand, or practice the teachings, not born as a long-life god of the form realm. We should reflect that with these fortunes and freedoms, I can attain the sorrowless state and supreme enlightenment. To waste this precious life is like one who returns empty-handed from a treasure island. This body of leisure is more valuable than a jewel which grants every wish. And now is the time you have found such a life, such as this. These words indicate not only how meaningful it is to have found such a life, but also how difficult and rare it is to have done so. We should contemplate these ideas again and again to realize a deep understanding and conviction into their meaning. Begin by reflecting on what you can check for yourself to be true acceptance of the sufferings of the more hidden realms can come later. So now we can contemplate what it is we just heard. Once again, being born as a human being with the good conditions to practice the Dharma. Practicing the Dharma, of course, is learning and then implementing what it is we need to adopt, such as the virtuous states of mind and so on. What it is we need to abandon, such as the non-virtuous states of mind and so on. Or you could say what to pick up, what to put down. Or again, you can say, replace the unwholesome with the wholesome, the non-virtuous with the virtuous. We have this opportunity. We shouldn't waste it just on gratifying the senses or always being concerned with superficial worldly concerns, such as gain and loss, fame and shame, praise and blame, pleasure and pain. All of these hopes and fears that blow us off the Dharma path. So now let's just for a minute, we can absorb our mind with what we heard and what we contemplated. And even if you find it hard to focus while we're engaging in this wisdom of meditation or absorbing your mind with understanding, that's okay. We are at where we're at, okay? We can't go to the past, We can't look into the future. All we have is this present moment, this beautiful, wonderful present moment. Rejoice. Rejoice in this present moment. Rejoice in your abilities. Rejoice in your possibilities, in your potential. So now back to the wisdom of hearing again. We can see directly that many people are born in countries without even the most basic freedoms, where they are tortured, oppressed by cruel and harsh systems of government. Many suffer persecution and extreme violation of their human rights. We should reflect, am I not fortunate to live in this land? Many are born blind, disabled in various ways, unable to receive or practice spiritual teachings. Am I not fortunate to be born with sense organs and faculties intact, able to hear and understand the Dharma? Many people have narrow, distorted views, unable to understand the law of cause and effect, of past and future lives, and so on and so forth, and therefore lead foolish, wasted lives. Am I not fortunate to have the chance to discover the truth and be free from suffering? Many live in places without sufficient food or water, homeless, scraping for a living. Am I not fortunate to live in a land of such abundance? Many people are born in places where there are no practitioners of the Buddhist teachings, or in places where no Buddhas have appeared and revealed the truth. The teachings are being lost from the world. I have met them just in time. Am I not fortunate to have encountered these precious teachings in a pure form? And could I endure for even a single day the sufferings of animals? Always afraid, eating each other, used in cruel experiments, farmed and slaughtered in an unbearable suffering, hunted for their skins and fur, forced to labor in harsh conditions, and so on and so forth. Am I not fortunate to be born as a human being? And what of those beings tortured by unbearable hunger and thirst, by torments unimaginable? Am I not fortunate to be free from such states? Who can say when such a precious human life will be mine again? Who can say how long I have left in this life? Let me resolve to ensure that I make correct and highest use of it. May I take the essence of this precious birth with its fortunes and freedoms without wasting a moment. It is difficult to find and easily destroyed like lightning in the sky. Think this over carefully and come to realize that all activities of the world are like chaff blown in the wind. To take this essence of this life, you must strive day and night. If you seek freedom, you must do so. So now you can contemplate a little bit. I'll help you out a little bit. And then we can absorb the mind. Just another note that these teachings are very, very straightforward. I haven't written them with any fluffy bits. Really to make us think, not to bring us down, but to make us think deeper, make use of our life without stress, without worry. To contemplate in what it is that you remember from the hearing, with many people not allowed to practice the Dharma, or don't have the conditions to practice the Dharma like this, don't have the ability to receive the Dharma. Or you could say even worse, have such distorted views that go against the path leading to the truth. Fight against it. Many people are without the requisites in life, sufficient water and food and shelter and so on. And what about the other realms of existence, the animals, and the suffering they experience, as well as the other realms of existence that we may not know directly or even indirectly? We are very fortunate to have this precious human life. Once again, it becomes precious when we utilize our abilities, utilize our opportunities, our fortunes, our freedoms to practice the Dharma, to increase our good qualities, decrease our faults, cause more happiness, cause less suffering, eventually to go beyond all of this. So now let's meditate on this. Absorb your mind with whatever it is that you remember from this. So like I said earlier, when we finish the breath meditation, you can feel very pleased with yourself for making the effort to engage in the wisdom of hearing, wisdom of contemplation, and the wisdom of meditation. Very happy. I did share with you that most recent time that I've taught these subjects was maybe a little over a year ago. And the first one, I think, took about 7 classes, which say 45-minute classes, maybe 25 minutes Dharma talk. Before that is the chanting, longer chanting and meditation. So what's that? Almost 3 hours, basically, giving commentary on these as well as utilizing the wisdom tools. So commentary on the subjects. So the meditation on human life was like that. I think maybe the meditation on impermanence, maybe 5 classes, so maybe 2 hours or something. So we're compressing them today. That's why I'm not adding much extra commentary. I am adding some though. In fact, it's more like I'm paraphrasing them for the contemplation purposes. Okay, so that's that one. The next one is shorter. Meditation on impermanence. Isn't that funny? Think about that. The longer one is the preciousness of human life, 2 pages. This one's 1 page because it's impermanent. Excuse my dry humor. So meditation on impermanence. I think we can continue onwards. And that way we have enough time for some Q&A, because I'm sure that you would have some questions. Remember, when you do have Q&A, don't be shy, okay? Ask whatever it is you need to ask. So once again, really go inside yourself, calm your mind, and utilize the wisdom of hearing. Maybe a note here is, we think we hear through our ears, but actually the ears is kind of like the instrument, you could say, because we actually really hear in our mind. So going deep into your mind to hear. Meditation on impermanence. Consider how all things we cling to in this life are changing moment by moment. They are all subject to disintegration. They are unstable. We must be separated from everything sooner or later. Everything that comes together also disperses. All meetings end in partings. What is here today is gone tomorrow. What rises falls. All health ends in sickness. Youth ends in old age. Since birth, we carry our death. There is no place that death cannot find us. We cannot add a single day. We relentlessly move in its direction. Nothing can protect us, no wealth, no possession, no friend, no reputation, no success, no power, nor beauty. Nothing can turn back death. Once again, I'll add a note. This is not to bring us down, okay? This is for us to face reality. And to help us get off our butts and practice the Dharma. We already know from the previous contemplation that this human life is precious. Now we are learning that it doesn't last. So let's practice now. Let's rejoice now. Let's cause happiness now. Let's uproot the causes of suffering now. Let's work our way towards realizing the ultimate truth now. So let's contemplate that. I will paraphrase for you, and then we will meditate. So everything is changing. Each moment goes to the next moment. This is physical things. This is mental things such as thoughts, attitudes, beliefs, so on. Therefore, all things, mental and physical, are not stable. They're not static. They're fluid. Each moment leads to the next moment, and so on. Things such as meetings end in partings. What rises falls. When our time is up in this life, that's it. On to next life, unless we have realized what we call enlightenment. So if we have the next life, let's make sure that we make the most of this human life. And also consider what the subject is, or the first subject for next week is, contemplation on the law of karma. So let's create good things. Let's engage in wholesome actions of the body, speech, and mind. And avoid engaging in unwholesome actions of the body, speech, and mind that will lead to difficulties and sufferings. Let's utilize whatever wisdom it is that we have now and head in the right direction. So now contemplate, I should say meditate on what it is you have contemplated or heard, then contemplated. So now back to the wisdom of hearing. So clear your mind from what you heard before, what you contemplated before, and what you have absorbed your mind with. And now, maybe I can mention as well, the Buddha said we should hear the Dharma like a pot, clean pot, the right way up. And what he means with a clean pot, the right way up, we're not adding dirty things, our own distortions and so forth to the teachings. And the pot, the right way up, will retain the teachings. Not a pot the wrong way up, which possibly means that we are sitting here physically but not paying attention mentally. Not a pot with holes where we are forgetful, not retaining the teachings. And not a pot with yesterday's curdled milk. Because even if you pour the pure milk in to curdled milk, the pure milk becomes curdled. You can also utilize the example of water. So if you have pure water, then you pour that into putrid water, then it becomes putrid. What that means is really maintain good intentions. And the Dharma teachings are pure. Don't distort them with your own opinions, beliefs or disbeliefs and so forth. Just hear them right now. Doesn't mean you have to believe them or disbelieve them right now. So with open mind, calm mind, flexible mind is important too. All we have worked for in our whole life will be swept away. We cannot take even a single atom of our prized possessions with us, or a single hair of this body that we have long served and cherished. All we will take with us is the karma that we have collected during our vain pursuit of worldly happiness, during this and previous lives. We should contemplate well on the fact that life is fleeting and passes quickly, like a dewdrop on the tip of a blade of grass, which soon dries up when the sun rises. We should realize that there is never enough time to do the things we want, and that nothing lasts. We should contemplate well on the fact that death is certain, but the time of death is uncertain. Lifespans are not fixed. Unfortunately, sometimes the young die before the old, the healthy before the sick. The things that cause our death are many, whilst the things that keep us alive are few. And then they can also cause our death even. The body is fragile and easily hurt. Furthermore, at the time of our death, our loved ones cannot help us. Our possessions cannot help us. All the worldly activities, excuse me, all the worldly activities we have devoted our lives to cannot help us. Attached to things of this life, we think that impermanent things are permanent. We think that suffering things are happiness. We think that impure things are pure. We should realize that the only thing that can help us at the time of death is the mind trained in the Dharma teachings. In summary, the three key principles of meditation on death and impermanence are: 1, that death is certain; 2, that the time of death is uncertain; 3, that at the time of death nothing can help us but our Dharma practice. So now you can contemplate this. Whatever it is you remember, contemplate this. I won't add to that. And then I'll let you know when we switch to absorbing the mind with whatever it is you understand. And now meditate on what it is you understand after you have heard and contemplated. Now the wisdom of hearing again. The articles are finished, but I'll just add some things. So you realize we have the precious human life. This should give rise to enthusiasm, to realizing how lucky we are, how fortunate we are, how free we are to practice. No restrictions, really up to you, up to your own mind. Nobody can control your mind. Even if we have difficult circumstances, one thing we can look after is our mind, our attitude. We're very fortunate. Contemplating impermanence will help us to not waste this precious opportunity, because we can realize that it goes away quickly. Things are always changing. By the way, impermanence doesn't always mean some negatives, can also mean positive. We can change for the better. That's positive. We can improve conditions. Positive. Decrease our mental afflictions. That's positive. Increase our good qualities. That's positive. And so on. But as human beings, so often we don't want to face the inconvenient truth and prefer to live with what we can call the convenient lies or the comfortable lies. But this is not conducive to realizing happiness, to realizing ultimately enlightenment. We must face the truth, even if it's inconvenient, not turn our back on it. An example I often use is if there's a fire behind us right now and we turn our back to it or keep our back towards it. The fire doesn't go out, it just gets worse. To put the fire out, we must face it. Contemplate it, work it out, what it is, and how to put it out. And then put it out. So face the truth. That's it. So I think maybe that'll do for today. Or maybe I'll add this as well, that by contemplating the law of karma, which is the first contemplation next week, we get, like I mentioned before, get to know what it is that we need to adopt to cause happiness, to continue on the path to enlightenment, and what it is that we need to abandon. Abandon such mental afflictions such as anger and hatred, ignorance, and so on. Adopt the good qualities such as compassion, loving kindness, generosity, and so on. Adopt the wholesome, abandon the unwholesome. Then, of course, we have the second contemplation next week, which is the fourth of these preliminary contemplations. And that is the contemplation of the unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence. Because cyclic existence is impermanent, constantly changing. It has the nature of being unsatisfactory. Often we say the nature of suffering. And there is actually no self to be found in the whole or the constituents of anything, including living beings, including physical objects and mental phenomena and so on. But we live contrary to this. And we can break free from it, you know. That's if you take anything from today, serious Dharma talk type thing, serious subjects, if you take anything, just remember you can free yourself. No problem. Q&A time. So open up the mics so people can talk.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'm just going to. Oh. Thank you so much, Last Day Williams, for this very in-depth reflections and contemplation meditations. We have one question online and one question in person. So Ahmed asked, can healthy people die early? My mother is a doctor and I estimate I will live till at least 85, but can death come before then?
Yes, it can. It depends on our karma, the karma from the past, but also the karma that we create in the present. The conditions that we have right now, whether they be difficult conditions, or good conditions, it's all is a result or are results from previous actions. Remember that the word karma means action or causes or cause. Then we have another word in the old language, vipaka, in Pali, vipaksha in Sanskrit. This means the result. So karma vipaka means the result of the causes or the results of the actions. And now we are experiencing the results of previous actions. But we also have in this moment, so in other words, we've taken, say from the past, we have this personality is the result, part of the result of that. Our faults, our good qualities, our happiness, our suffering, all of this, our health, or lack of health, all of this is actually the result, the vipaka of the karma. But in this moment, we can change for the better. Does not mean we can change the results of the previous karma because we're already experiencing them, but we can change for the better right now. Remember, everything begins in the mind. All things are constructs of the mind. Without the mind, we don't have any experience. The body can't experience. And then, of course, with the mind, we have some sort of feelings, emotions, and so on. We have perceptions, and we have mental formations coming from the past, but also intention and volition, or will, you could say, here and now. So rather than dwell on whether, the suffering we may experience right now, or the happiness we may experience, or the past, you can contemplate that to understand, the old saying that the only, something like this is the only good thing about thinking about the past is to learn from it or something like that. And so in the present is when we learn. We can't learn in the past. We can learn from the past by contemplating it in the present. We only ever learn in the present. We can't learn in the future. Even the hopes to learn in the future, they arise in the present. Okay, so look after our mind now, Yes, it is possible for us to experience negative results of our karma, even though it looks maybe now we have good results. Depends. We don't know that. We can't look into the past. I remember years ago in the USA, in the temple I lived in, one American guy started coming to Dharma classes. And after I actually met him, after I taught a teenage class at a different temple, and he was actually a truck driver, delivering water, those big water things. There was a temple in south of Los Angeles called Sea Light Temple, Foguanshan Sea Light Temple, which means Buddha's Light Mountain to the west, loosely. Very large temple. So they had a lot of big water bottles around for the visitors and so on. Anyway, he came up to me and said, I'm really interested in Buddhism, and do you teach adults? And I said, yeah, but in my home temple, which is about, almost an hour from here. So off I went. I went back home. And next week he came to the classes and he said, "You're talking about future lives, previous lives. If there's future or past lives, how come I can't remember it?" And I said, "Michael, what did you do last Monday?" And he said, "Oh, I got up, I went to work." I said, "No, every detail. I want you to tell me every detail that you did last Monday, which is 5 days earlier." And he couldn't remember. I said, "Well, how can you expect to remember a previous life in a different body if you can't remember 5 days ago in this body? What we did 5 minutes ago, sometimes we forget, you know? So don't worry about these extra things like that. There is a lot of question, especially in countries or people that live in countries that have been affected by belief systems that believe in only one life. Okay, so there's very question, oh, previous life, how is that possible? Future life, how is that possible? Well, contemplate the law of karma. You don't have to fully understand right now, but think about cause and effect. What we cause now, we will experience the effect of in the future. Let's say right now you get really angry mentally. The next moment you will be angry. That's cause and effect. Your mind will be disturbed. Cause and effect. Maybe your body will stress out. Actually, they say that one of the effects, physical effects of anger is bad breath. We clean our teeth a lot and have mints and things. So maybe if you want your breath to smell nice, don't get angry. That's the medical, it's a fact. But also the body smells too. We release a lot of toxins and things when we get angry and stressed and everything. So anyway, a little bit of humor. So what we experience now is an effect or our effects from previous karma. You don't, like I said, you don't have to think, because I know there's some people that are new to Buddhism here today, taking part today. And maybe you have these doubts. You don't have to believe it, okay? The Buddha invites you to investigate his teachings. But also, part of not believing it is not believing it. So don't have a closed mind and say, oh, that can't be true, just because my habit is not to believe that. So don't believe or disbelieve, but utilize your intelligence and ability to investigate the obvious aspects first. That's really what investigation is. And then analysis is the more subtle, contemplating the more subtle aspects of whatever it is that you are contemplating. In this case, maybe rebirth or law of karma, so on. Just think also this state of mind we have right now, we take into the next moment, don't we? This moment of consciousness results in the next moment of consciousness. Where does this begin? It didn't just come out of nowhere, did it? It's impossible for someone else or some other being to create it. You have to have created it yourself. Otherwise, it's unfair, imbalanced. So let's say this moment came into being because of the previous moment. Then it goes to say, without really any doubts, is it, that this week came into, or our experiences within this week came to being because of last week. This year came into being because of last year. This life came into being because of previous life. And where does it end? Until we free ourselves from this ignorance that gives rise to attachment and so on, which is the cause of suffering. The Dharma that creates the experience of the suffering in cyclic existence. We can free ourselves from this. But right now, we haven't. So we will create the future results. So isn't it better to create good results and not suffering results? So keep positive mind. Encourage your friends, encourage your family to keep positive mind. We can change for the worse, we can change for the better. Up to you, which you choose. Hopefully that's enough answer, Ahmed. Hopefully not too much. Next.
Thank you, Venerable Ahmed. Hope that was helpful for you. If you have any follow-up questions, please you can unmute yourself or you can type in the chat. Ahmed says thank you. Great. And actually we also have another question that's more specific to contemplation and meditation. Nikki asked, I hope this isn't a stupid question, but what is the difference between contemplation and meditation?
Okay, so there are no stupid questions. Remember what I said at the start of class. So contemplation, meditation. When we contemplate, it means we are utilizing our ability to investigate and analyze. So let's say we are contemplating impermanence, as we just did. Then we're investigating it on an obvious level. And then we go deeper, analysis to analyze the more subtle aspects of this impermanence. So let's say the contemplation begins with investigation. Let's say a flower. You can see the flower, maybe on a hot day, maybe in an hour, it's going to look drier. Maybe that's obvious impermanence or an expression of obvious impermanence. But then with an analysis, you can realize, okay, I can't see it with my imperfect vision right now. But this flower, it's not just that it changed with that hour. It actually is a moment-to-moment change. Very subtle. So that you can contemplate to be able to develop wisdom, understanding. This is, you could say, part of meditation, but also you can split it up as well. The meditation that I'm speaking about through these commentaries is the meditation where we absorb the mind with understanding. So you hear, then you contemplate it, what it is you heard. And then you absorb your mind with what it is you understand from that hearing and contemplation. But also you can say meditation when we're focusing on the breath, for instance, or one particular object, is to develop one-pointed concentration, to develop a bright mind, calm, bright, relaxed mind, flexible mind, stable mind, not a dull mind, not this overactive, disturbed mind. So often the mind is like a pendulum, overactive, sleepy, overactive, sleepy. We want to have this one-pointed concentration, not to be disturbed, have the agitated mind or a dull mind. And when we do this is to develop good concentration. Eventually to develop one-pointed concentration without distraction, without dharmas. So this is meditation. This can be called samatha, or calm abiding meditation, tranquility meditation, to develop this concentration. Then we have the meditation, as alluded to before, to develop wisdom, the contemplation meditation. Can also maybe be known as analytical meditation. In the old language called vipassana. Penetrative insight meditation is probably the best phrase that I've heard or come up with. because it penetrates beyond the ordinary to develop insight or wisdom. But also we have other meditations that are to develop other good qualities, such as the loving kindness meditation, such as compassion meditation, and other ones as well. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. And if it doesn't, let me know and I'll expand.
Thank you, Venerable. Nikki, please let us know if that answers your question, or if you have a follow-up question. It was a very good question, I think. Yes, Nikki said yes, thank you.
Very good.
I think we don't hear a lot about contemplation meditation in a lot of our talks, so it's really refreshing to practice that today. So thank you. Thank you,
Yeah, you know,
Andrew
if I can
Williams.
add just
Do we
this,
have any other questions from those in person? No? We're good. Any other questions?
if
No
I can
questions in
answer,
person.
if I
How
can
about
add to the,
online?
if I can add to this, the
Oh,
Eightfold
sorry.
Path. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, the Eightfold Path, which is the path to be traversed in Buddhism, which includes all of the other aspects of the Dharma as well, starts out by morality. Even though the first and the second of the Eightfold Path, or aspects of the Eightfold Path, actually are to do with wisdom, because they point out what it is our goal, what it is we need to develop, right understanding and intention. But morality, the higher training in morality, is the third, fourth, and fifth of the Eightfold Path. Just to let you know as well, the sixth, seventh, and eighth of the Eightfold Path is right meditation, or should say higher training in meditation, or concentration, or mental development. And they all culminate with right understanding or lead to, I should say, in right understanding and right intention, which is the wisdom, the higher training in wisdom. So first of all, this is my point, we must be moral. With a mind of morality, by engaging in right speech, right actions, and right livelihood, we have nothing to feel bad about. Very little regret. So the mind is already calm, reasonably calm, and ripe to develop concentration, the higher training in meditation, ripe to make the great effort to maintain the wholesome states of mind and relinquish the unwholesome, and the right effort to practice mindfulness, develop this concentration. Once this concentration is developed really well, then we can really utilize our ability to contemplate, investigate, and analyze, to develop right understanding, and have all of our thoughts, all of our mind activities and physical actions and words based on good intentions, pure intentions. And with this right understanding and right intentions, we can totally uproot what we call the three poisons: the ignorance, the attachment, and the aversion, which give rise to all of the other mental afflictions that cause our suffering. In other words, we can uproot the cause. With no cause, there will be no effect. Yeah? I just wanted to add that because maybe a lot of you are familiar with Eightfold Path, and so this can bring it back into that formula.
Thank you very much, Master Andrew Williams. Yeah, it is a good way to bring everything together. And we've got 3 minutes left. So if there's a final question, or we can close off the session with a dedication of merits. Okay. Master Andrew, would you like to close off with the dedication of merits
Yes,
today?
will do. Due to this merit, may we soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious bodhicitta not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of shunyata not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya.
Thank you so much for doing that dedication of merits for us together, and thank you so much for this talk today, Pastor Andrew Williams. This was a very full-packed session. I feel like we have so much golden nuggets spread throughout the session just for us to contemplate on in the session, but I'm sure afterwards as well. Thank you very much for attending. I really appreciate your talk today and also all of your musicals with the Buddhist teachings on them. They're really beautiful ways to share Buddhist, allow us to reflect as well. So thank you for that. Yeah, so today, to finish off the session two, yeah, we have some notifications or some call outs. Monday, meditations for Metta Centre in person in Bankstown. In Bankstown, Western Sydney University, or online, 7 to 8:30. Sorry, Monday talks, Dharma talks. And then Wednesdays we have these meditation sessions together between 7 to 8:30. We're in person in Parramatta and also online. On Tuesdays we have yoga and they're in person between I think it was 6:30 to 7:30 in Bankstown in Western Sydney University. You can find all of the details on the Metta Centre website. And we have a Metta Centre 10-year anniversary coming up in November. We did send out the message to the Metta Centre WhatsApp group, I think this week. So yeah, if you just leave your calendars free. Which days were they again, Sing Sing?
The Meta Convention is on the 8th,
Or you
the
unmuted
9th.
yourself. Sorry. Go.
Sorry, the Meta Convention is on the 8th and the 9th of November, but then there's going to be some more activities, and what we have the Mahadana on the 15th of November. So, Venerable Andrew, sorry, it's been a long time. Good to see you again. So we'd like to invite you to come to Sydney because I think later on Tina is going to send the invitation to everyone, to all the monastics in Australia. So if you have a chance to be here, come for the Mahadana on the 15th of November. Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
That's all.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. We would love to see you there, Master Andrew Williams, if you could attend. And thank you everyone for coming in person and online. It was lovely to share this time together. I hope you have a lovely week ahead and see you next week. Bye.
We'll see you next week.